The power of young people. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining today. My name is Alex Gordon. I'm in my fourth year at Eckerd College, and I organize with the student PIRGs to empower and train the next generation of youth activists. But before I talk about any of that, who am I? I always like to tell people that I started doing activism work with absolutely no idea of what organizing even was. I'm originally from Houston, Texas, so I'm no stranger to the impacts of climate change. And growing up, I always wanted to make a difference, but really just didn't know how. When I first found Florida PIRG students at my campus, Eckerd College, I was so excited because I would finally get to take action and do things. I got trained on all of the basics of grassroots organizing and jumped into our voter registration campaign. The work we did that semester helped increase voter turnout by 350%. Seeing the impact that just a small group of students could have on an entire city really empowered me. So after working on voter registration and turnout, I decided to tackle plastic pollution at Eckerd. After months of campaigning, we were successful, and the president of Eckerd signed what's called the Break Free from Plastic Campus Pledge. This effectively eliminated the purchasing of all non-essential single-use plastics on our campus. But all of that work started with me not even knowing what organizing was. The passion I had for tackling plastic pollution has since grown into something so much bigger. I work with the Student PIRGs, which again is a national network of student-run and mostly student-funded, nonpartisan nonprofits. After the success at Eckerd on organizing around plastic pollution, I began to work with students across the country, building a movement of young people tackling the plastic pollution crisis on their own campuses. Doing this national work really helped me see that at the end of the day, organizing for environmental protections was more than just working on one issue or problem, but really about bringing young people who are so often sidelined in conversations dealing with our future into a space where we can make the change we want to see. So why involve young people? First, we care about a lot of different things. If we want to take huge action, we all have to start somewhere. For some folks, that can look like organizing on state, national-wide policies, but for others, it's addressing the immediate needs in the communities that you live in. And for students, that's often on our campuses. Students shouldn't have to choose between their next meal and their course books. Young people should feel like we have a voice in our democratic process and be able to use that voice. My generation is the largest and most diverse in the history of the United States. We are going to be the ones most impacted by the climate crisis and are all around inheriting a world with a lot of huge problems. So how do we even begin to tackle those things? It's going to take young people recognizing our power, getting the resources and the skills that we need to harness that power, and then ultimately creating the change that we deem necessary in our local communities. There has never been a large, successful movement for change without young people. And lastly, campuses are powerhouses. Campuses have always served as avenues for change. We're little microcosms of larger communities, and we can serve as models for cities and even states. Colleges have purchasing power, influence, and a lot of people, which groups like our PIRG chapters have been able to leverage. By building a culture of agency amongst students on campuses, we can create much longer lasting, sustained change. From getting the entire University of California system to phase out single-use plastics, stopping automatic textbook billing that leaves students without a choice, and lobbying at the statewide and even national level to make higher education more affordable, students have been able to prove that we are effective agents for change. It all starts with young people deciding we want to do something, but that then builds into effective action because of the support and resources we get. I started working on voter registration not because I knew I wanted to be an organizer, but because I was searching for a way to protect my future. I was then invested in by an organization that saw the value of my story and my voice. By working on the campaigns that I do, I've been able to bring other young people into making change, which at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. The more young people we have making change, the better our world will be. Imagine if you had the resources to make change at a younger age. Or imagine if all of the passionate students across the globe were given the support and the tools that we need. Young people today feel the weight of the world on our shoulders, but oftentimes don't have the tools we need to do something about it. Having access to those tools is not a reality we should imagine, but one that should be the standard. Thank you all again, and feel free to reach out and be sure to follow the Student PIRGs on Twitter if you'd like to continue this conversation.